for the derivation part of the belts, which is already in the previous class. We have gone through the theory session of the belts. Now let us move on to the derivation part for the belts, in which we have learned about the different types of belts in the earlier class. In case of the flat belts is only the part of the syllabus in which we have open belt and cross belt. So we'll be deriving the length of the belts for the open and cross belts, as well as we'll be deriving the power, we'll be deriving the tensions, ratios, as well as centrifugal tension, initial tension, slip, creeps, all the relations which we are going trying to derive in this class. So let's begin with the first one, the length of the open belts. Okay, this is the figure which I have shown you over here. This is your driving member and this is your driven member. So here the driving member which is attached to one of the shaft, and the driven member which has been attached to the other shaft. So where this is being given as input power from the motor or something to the input shaft over here. Along with this this attached shaft will be rotating, the driving one, in which the belt which is attached to this will make the belt to rotate. So here is a slack side which is the top one and tight side in the bottom one. So due to the rotation of this belt over here, which is in contact with the driven or the following members, this makes your driven or the follower member to rotate. So from this the power has been transmitted into the input one, output one. From here it has been, the power has been collected. So this is your input, this is your output. Okay, so if you want to calculate your speed ratio or the velocity ratio, this is your N1 and this will be your N1 and this will be your N2. So from here N1 by N2 gives your speed ratio or the velocity ratio, and train gives your N1 N2 by N1. Okay, so let us try to understand the derivation for the length of the cross belt now. So this is a figure which is related to the open belt, sorry. So here is your driving member and here is your driven member over here. So this is your notations which is given to here as like center one as denoted as O, small o, and this is denoted as capital O. Okay, O1. So here is the distance between these two from your driven to the driving one. Centers is nothing but center, capital C. Okay, and this is your diameter of your this pulley, which is small d, and this is your diameter of the driving member, capital D. So here there is a notation from here which is by drawing a line which is joining from the point B to C, which makes your rectangle one, where B, O, C, G to B is a rectangle one, where O to B distance and CG distance are same. O to B and CG distance are same over here. Okay, now if I want to calculate the length of the belt, what else I need to know is, if I want to calculate the length of the belt, this is a complete length. Okay, so to calculate this length of the belt, if I denote from the point F over here, I need to know the arc FAB, and from here again I need to know the length B to C from here. Okay, and also I need to know the arc CDE from here, and also I need to know the length EF. If I know all these parameters, then I can calculate the length of that. So how do I calculate the length of this? Okay, simple. If we want to calculate the length of that, let's try to calculate first the angle beta, and then alpha S, and then alpha B. If you know these three terms, then you can calculate the length of the belt. So how do you calculate your angle beta? To calculate the beta, what is you need to do is, to this line of O1C, just draw a perpendicular line from O to G. Draw a perpendicular line which is meeting the center of this CO to O point, that we denote it as OG. So once it has been drawn, as you know, OB is nothing but it is equal to GC. Okay, OB is equal to GC. So from here, if I take the triangle OGO dash, which I need to get a sine beta from here. I want to calculate the sine beta from here. So sine beta will be like O1G by OO. So here what is O1G? O1G is nothing but O1C minus GO. This from here to here is nothing but till here minus remaining this part, that gives me O1G. Okay, so from here if I calculate the O1G, okay, that if I substitute, then I'll get the value of sine beta. Okay, let's go on here. O1G by OO, O1C minus GC by OO. O1C is nothing but same, GC is nothing but OB by OO. So what is O1C and OB and OO? So O1C is nothing but which is equal to this part, okay, which is nothing but O1C here, this complete D, this will be D by 2, and O1B, this OB is nothing but this is complete diameter D, and this half of this will be D by 2. So simple substitution of D by 2, capital D by 2 minus small d by 2 by what is this OO is nothing but the center distance between these two, that is C, capital C. If I simply substitute over here, then I'll get the sine beta. So from here sine beta is nothing but D minus D by 2C. Okay, once this is known, what is alpha S and alpha B? Alpha is nothing but, so here this is complete angle is 180 minus this beta angle, that gives me alpha. Okay, and similarly alpha B is nothing but this is complete 180, this plus this beta angle, that gives me 180 plus 2 beta. Okay, so alpha S and alpha B. Once this both is known, then I can calculate the value of alpha S by substituting the beta over here, that is sine inverse of D minus D by 2C. Then I can get the alpha S and alpha B. Okay, once this is known, then what is the final thing is to calculation of the lengths. How to calculate your length, that is arc of FAB, which I told you earlier, FAB, this arc plus this length, this arc plus this length. So what is FAB arc? What is FAB arc? FAB is nothing but this alpha S into the diameter of this half of this, that is your radius, D by 2, alpha S into D by 2 plus BC. What is this length? BC is nothing but the same length over here, that is OG. OG is nothing but from cos beta. If I write cos beta from here, this will be nothing but this angle, cos beta is nothing but this OG by this one OO. So from that I can get the value of cos beta is nothing but from here, if I simply substitute, that will be, this one will be C into cos beta, okay. So here if I substitute this C into cos beta of the length of this, and next what is this arc of CDE is nothing but this alpha B into the radius, that is D by 2 plus this one, the same again C cos beta. If I substitute over here, that length D by 2 alpha S plus OG plus D by 2, all this, I get this as alpha S can be written as this pi minus, that is 180 minus 2 beta, that is pi minus 2 beta plus all the substitution. What I do is, if I want to know the length, I need to know the sine beta, this beta, and as well as cos beta. If your sine beta angle is very small, then simple substitution of this, I want to calculate the cos beta. 1 minus you know the formula for cos beta from your mathematics, 1 minus 2 sine square beta by 2. If I substitute over here, I get this as 1 minus capital D minus small d whole square by 8c square. If I simply substitute all these parameters over here, then I get the final length of the belt as 2c plus pi into d plus d by 2 plus d minus d whole square by 4c. This is the length for the open belt. Now I will try to calculate the length of cross belt in a similar lines. Okay, if I want to calculate the length of this cross belt in a similar lines of your open belt, in which the cross belt will have the contact between the same belt by itself, one of its member. So here if I want to draw a OG perpendicular, where here the OG we need to draw perpendicular to FC. So here are which is, we say it as OC. For this OC, where is this OC over here? This OC, for this perpendicular line you need to draw it. So this forms a rectangular one, this will be a rectangular one. Okay, so here OF length will be equal to GC. OF length will be equal to GC. So from here, if I want to calculate the length of the belt, similar lines, I need to know the arc of FAD, and then length of this, and arc of CDE, and then length of CF. If simply substitution of this, then I can get the value of length L. So here, as we know, CG is equal to OF, which I told you the point over here. So simple substitution to calculate your sine beta from here, the angle beta from here. So to calculate the length of the belt of your open or cross, this sketch is very important. If you are clear with the sketch of your drawing, then it is fine, easily you can derive the derivation part in the exam. if you are not clear with the sketch, if you are not practicing the sketch, then it is very difficult to draw it in the exam. Sometimes this question is being asked for 10 marks also directly, the length derivation. So in that case, sketch carries obviously 2 to 3 marks, which is very important. If you are not clear, your complete derivation will be wrong, or else simply if you buy it also, if your figure is not clear, if you are not drawing perfectly, then you will lose the marks. So be careful. Please do practice the derivation figures for your both open and cross belt, as well as if you want to calculate your beta, as from here sin beta is equal to O1g by OO. Similar lines of your O1g is nothing but it is OC. This O1g is nothing but OC plus GC, where GC is equal to OF. Simple substitution of this, d by 2 plus d by 2 by c. D by 2 how do you got in the previous case of similar lines? If this is your complete diameter, this will be d by 2, half of this. This is complete diameter, this will be half of this, d by 2. Simple substitution of this. In the previous case of your open belt, we have got as minus, and this case will be plus. That is only the sign difference will be there in case of cross belt and open belt. Remaining apart from this, everything will be same. Okay. So simple substitution of this, we get very important point over here to be noted as alpha s angle and alpha b angle will be both same over here. In that previous case was different, one is positive and negative, and here in this case both angles will be same. Okay. This is from your figure itself. This will be the 180 plus this both angles, and this also will be 180 plus both angles, beta and beta. Okay. So after knowing all these parameters, the sine, beta and all those things, simple substitution in calculation of your length. Finally I got this length of the belt as L is equal to C plus pi into D plus D by 2 plus D whole square by 4C. So if you compare the both one, this will be 2C plus pi into D plus D by 2 plus D by 2 plus, only difference is where here it is minus, here it is plus. Only difference here will be in a sign. This is plus over in a cross belt, that will be minus in a open belt. That is only the difference. Okay. So this is for your length calculation in case of your cross belt. I hope I'm clear till the second derivation part of your cross belt. Let's move on to calculation of slip. Calculation of slip. If we want to calculate the slip, that is a percentage in a slip. Okay. That is which I told you about the slip case in a case of belts and reciprocating pumps. You have negative slip, positive slip, and what is the case in a belt slip. In a theory session, everything in detail I have explained you. So if I take this percentage of slip in a first case and second case, that is the slip in case between your driver belt, and another one is S2 as the slip between your follower belt. Okay, where you have your driven member and driven member one. So in this case both, if I take a slip over here, so in this, if I want to calculate the slip of this, what is needed to do is, first is we need to know the velocity of the belt, which is for a driver one. First is we need to calculate the velocity of driver one. So here usually we have your velocity as pi dn by 60, but we are considering the slip also for the case for your driver one. Then we need to minus the slip, which is in terms of your percentage of that velocity, that is pi d1 n by 60 into s1 by 100, that is in percentage. Okay, so we get finally this as case 1, equation 1, pi dn by 60 if I take it as common. Next is what is I'm doing is velocity of belt over the follower I'm trying to calculate. This is nothing but pi d n2 by 60 is the actual velocity minus this velocity into the percentage of slip for the second one, that is s2 by 100. So if I take v as common over here, 1 minus s2 by 100. So this substitution of v over here, then I get this relation. Okay, that is pi d1 n by 60 into 1 minus s1 by 100 into 1 minus s2 by 100. So if I take this sign again by simple substitution, this pi will be cancelled, and then if I take n2 by n over here, 60 will be cancelled. Then n2 by n1 is equal to d1 by d2 into 1 minus s1 by 100 minus s2 by 100. If suppose if I neglect both s1 and s2, or if I take s is equal to s1 plus s2, then final relation I can take this as n1 by n2 is equal to d1 by d2 into 1 minus s by 100, or you can take this also, any of the relation. Okay, And next, if I consider thickness to that, then I need to add thickness to both of the diameters, d1 plus d2 plus t into 1 minus s by 100. Okay, so this is for the case of your slip. If I consider for the driving and driven members, if you the question has been asked considering both slips in case of driven and driven member, then you need to consider both. If it has been asked only by considering the driven member, you need to consider driven member. If I ask only for the driving member slip, then you need to consider only driving member slip. So any of this based on the question which has been asked in the exam. That is about the slip. Next, if you move on for the calculation of power. So here, if I take a belt over here, which is the driving member and driven member over here, there is a slack side, there is a tight side, which is already I told you the top one is nothing but slack side and bottom one is nothing but a tight slide. So if there is a tension, due to the tension itself, the power has been transmitting here. This if you take it as T1 and this if you take it as T2 over here. Okay, and next is radius. If you take this as R1 and this as R2, R1 and R2, and this velocity as V. Okay, then if I want to have a force on the circumference of the follower is nothing but the difference between the both tensions, T1 minus T2. That is your driving force between these two difference of your tension. Next, if I want to calculate the work done is nothing but these difference of your tension into velocity. That gives me your work done, which is in terms of Newton meters per second. Suppose if I want to calculate the power, there's nothing but divided by 1000, which converting into watts, which is nothing but T1 minus T2 into V. This will be my power calculation. Okay, which is in watts, 1 Newton per second converting into watts. Okay, that is about your power calculation. If I want to calculate the torque, then this torque will be difference of this tension into radius. If I want to calculate for initial one, T1 minus T2 into R1. If I want to calculate for the follower one, T1 minus T2 into R2. This is about the torque calculation and this is about your power calculations. Okay, hope I'm clear till here. Next, move on for the determination of angle of contact. In the previous case of your open belt and cross belt, which have gone through the derivation part for the calculation of length, where we need to know the alpha over there. How we have calculated the beta over there, where by considering the lengths, by considering the parallel triangle, and then simple substitution, which I got sin beta as d minus small d by 2c. So here, if I want to know the theta, the angle of wrap or maybe angle of contact for the open belt, so here if I am considering this R1 as a radius for the larger pulley and R2 as radius for the smaller pulley, and x is a distance between your center of two pulleys. Previously, which I have considered as center distance C, now I am considering this as x, no difference between anything. Okay, so if I want to calculate this theta is nothing but the angle. This is your angle of contact. Theta. So if I want to calculate this theta is nothing but the angle 180 minus 2 alpha, this alpha and this alpha, considering 2 alpha. Okay, minus 2 alpha into pi by 180 radians, because converting this degrees into radians, that will be 180 minus 2 alpha into pi by 180 radians. So how do you get this alpha? Alpha can be calculated by R1 minus R2 by x or D1 minus D2 by 2x. Anything is fine. From that I can calculate the value of f. Alpha is nothing but sine inverse of d1 minus d2 by 2x. From this, if I substitute the alpha over here, then I can calculate the theta. This is angle of contact. Okay, this is another derivation for calculation of angle of theta contact. Next, this is for your open belt. Then if I go with the similar lines for the cross belt, everything will be same. Only difference will be in a sign. Previously, which I have taken was minus. This will be plus the angle of contact theta. Okay, which is based on this triangle which I am going to consider, the sine alpha. Okay, O1m. This will be plus. That will be minus. That is only the difference. R1 plus R2 by x. Okay, this is for your open belts. That is for the previous was for the cross belt, open belt. This is for your cross belt. Okay, now the angle of contacts has been done, power has been done, and length of the belts for open and cross belts has been done. Next, we'll try to calculate the maximum tension in the belt. So maximum tension, how do you calculate your tension? Previously, which is already we have calculated the tension, based on the tension itself we have calculated the power. Now let's try to calculate the maximum tension. If you want to calculate the maximum tension over here, which is we need to consider the stress, maximum safe stress in your belt, as well as we need to consider the width of the belt, and as well as we need to consider the thickness of the belt. So from here we can calculate the maximum tension in the belt as T is equal to sigma maximum stress into cross sectional area of the belt. Cross sectional area is nothing but B into T. So from this we can calculate this T is equal to alpha into B into T. Or if I take the centrifugal tension over here, then T1, which is nothing but, if I consider the centrifugal tension, then this T or T1 is nothing but T1 plus C. T1 plus C. So this is only the maximum tension without considering the centrifugal tension. This is by considering the centrifugal tension. Okay, so that is what your centrifugal tension and all those things will be going through the another derivation later after this. Okay, hope it is still clear till here, the maximum tension calculations in the belts. Now let's move on for the condition of maximum power. Before knowing the condition of the maximum power derivation, let's try to calculate the ratios of the tension, this relation. Then it will be clear for you to calculate the condition for the maximum power transmission. Okay, right, this is about the calculation of ratios of driving tension of your flat belt, which is for your open and cross belt one. So this is your driving member, and this is your figure which has been drawn from the driving member over here. So here this is your angle of wrap or angle of contact theta, which we have considered. This is your tension in your tight side, and this is your tension in the slack side. Okay, and here is a complete diameter D, and here is a tension which is a tangent which has been drawn for this to the normal one, and this is your force which has been acting in this direction one, and this is your another one summation of your tension which has been added to the difference in your tension. When you have the elongation, you have some additional one which is to the tension, that is which is added to this one. Okay, this is a normal radius which has been drawn, and this is the angle of contact. Due to the difference, there is some, due to the creep or maybe due to the elongation, you have some change in angle, that is the del theta. So that is the angle of wrap or the contact one. If you take the zoomed figure to here, then this is your force which is acting, that is nothing but the coefficient of friction into the radius of normal one. Okay, and this is your del theta by 2. Okay, so and this is the same, which is the sum of your tension plus your change in tension one. Okay, so that is the parameters which you are going to consider over here. So what is we are going to calculate over here is ratios of tension T1 by T2, that is tension in the tight side to the tension in the slack side. That is what we are trying to calculate. So resolving the forces from the same previous figure which I have gone through, normal force from here is nothing but the summation of your tension and change in tension into sine del theta by 2 plus T into sine del theta by 2. Take this as equation number 1. As if your del theta, the angle of contact one, if it is very small, then you put the sine of del theta by 2 as del theta by 2. Okay, simple substitution in that case. By substitution of this, then I get this as final one, del T into del theta, multiplying this T into del theta by 2 plus del T into del theta by 2 plus T into del theta by 2. That is nothing but, if you equate all, I get it as T into del theta. Take this as equation number 2. Neglect, why? Because we already taken angle del theta as very small, so we'll neglect this. Okay, so finally which I got this value as T into del theta. This 2 will be cancelled. Okay, now again, which was taken for the horizontal forces. Now if I take the vertical forces by resolving that, then we have mu into Rn is equal to T plus same delta T into this horizontal one we have taken as sine, and the vertical one I am taking it as cos. That previous was taken as a plus one, here taking as horizontal, and the vertical one, the horizontal one we have taken as a summation of both, and the vertical one we take it as a difference. Okay, that is cos. So again, by simply substituting, putting this cos theta by 2 as 1 because it is very small, simple substitution over here, I got this normal force of Rn as del theta by mu. Okay, this you take it as equation 3, and this you take it as equation 4. Now by substitution of equation 2 and 4, this is your equation 4 and this is your equation 2, substitute that and take a relation to that, and this is for your small angle variation. If I want for the complete length, if I want to have for the complete length, what I'm going to do, I will try to integrate that. If I try to integrate that, then finally I will get this relation as T1 by T2 will be equal to e power mu theta from this relation. Or you can also write this as directly 2.3 into log T1 minus by T2 is equal to mu theta. Anything is fine. Usually we will go with this relation most of the cases. T1 by T2 is equal to e power mu theta. This is about the tension ratios from tight side to slack side. Okay, from this we can find the relation of calculation of any one of the tension. This mu is your coefficient of friction and theta is your angle of contact, where you can calculate your theta from 180 minus 2 alpha for open belts and cross belt as 180 plus 2 alpha, where alpha you are calculating for sine alpha, that is sine beta, that is inverse of sine inverse of d minus small d by 2c. Okay, thus if you are clear with this, now I will go with the calculation of maximum power transmission, maximum power condition. See here, which is this derivation. Now we are done. If that is done, from this relation what I'm going to do is I'll take this T2 relation from here and I'll substitute this T2 in case of power. As we know, P is equal to this power P is equal to T1 minus T2 into V. So from this relation where I'm trying to substitute T2 over here, if I simply substitute T2 over here, then I'll get this relation. Take this as equation number 1. Okay, so from here I am trying to calculate the C value from here, from this relation 1 and 2. C is nothing but 1 minus 1 by e power mu theta. So from this we know that initially if I consider the centrifugal tension, due to centrifugal tension itself, you will be having a power transmission. Okay, from here, which is already you know, T is equal to T1 plus TC. From this T1 I can calculate it here. Okay, simple substitution of your T1 over here. From this relation I can calculate the power as T minus TC into V into C. So from this also we know that TC is equal to the centrifugal tension 1, TC is equal to mv square. So from this relation if I substitute this TC, this is equal to mv square. Okay, which is substitution over here. Then I'll get this value. I'll take this as equation number 3. So now I have known the power, which is calculation. If I want to calculate for the maximum power, what I do, I differentiate this power with respect to velocity and equate it as 0. Then I'll get the maximum power. So from this, if I differentiate dp by dv equating to 0, then I will get the relation as finally by simple substitution of your mathematical calculations, where T is equal to 3 times of TC. That is nothing but these maximum tension, which is nothing but it is a product of 3 times of your centrifugal tension. That is your condition for your maximum power. It shows that power transmitted is maximum when 1/3 of the maximum tension is absorbed as centrifugal tension. If it is not absorbed, then you do not get your maximum power. Okay, in order to get your maximum power, it should be 1/3 of your centrifugal tension. That is to calculate your maximum power. So from this, if I want to calculate the relation of your V, that is velocity of the belt for the maximum power, initially which I know, like T is nothing but T1 plus TC, where TC is nothing but T by 3. If I substitute over here, then you'll get it as T1 is equal to 2T by 3 from this relation. Okay, so substitution of that, V is equal to pi dn by 60, simple. From that relation I get the velocity as, this is very very important, V is equal to under root of T by 3m. Okay, T by 3m. Okay, so now we are done with the calculation of velocity. Now we'll move on to the next calculation for initial tension in the belt. Okay, let's move on. When the belt is wound between the two pulleys, you have two ends joined. Okay, that is, you have your driven and driven, which is the follower one, just gone by a fem grip. Due to the friction, the belt and pulley there is some increase in grip. If the belt is tightened up, there will be some other side, the pulley will be other side, it will be loosened up. If you tighten up in the follower side, then it will be loosen up in the another one. So due to this subjecting to this, you have some tension. That is generally called as initial tension. So when the driver starts rotating, it pulls the belts from one side and it delivers to the other side, which is from your top side to your bottom side. So if your top side increase in tension, there is a decrease in tension on the other side. Okay, so due to this, there is a tension in the tight side and decrease in the tension on the other side. This is called tension in the slack side. So what is that initial tension? Now we are going to derive. So to derive that, we need to consider this initial tension as T0 and tension in the tight side as T1 and tension on the slack side as T2. So from this, if I go with the increase in tension of the tight side as T1 minus T0, or decrease in the same tension on the slack side as T0 minus T2. Okay, so here if I go with the increase in length, what is an increase in length? If there is an increase in tension, there is an increase in length. So that increase in length is nothing but alpha, the angle, into difference of the tension of your tight side to the initial tension, T1 minus T0. Again similar case, if I want to calculate the length of the decreased one on the slack side, then alpha into T0 minus T2. If take this as case number 1 and take this as case number 2. So now if I want to calculate your initial tension, substitute this and equate to the relation 1 to 2. If I relate this both the relation, T1 minus T0 is equal to T0 minus T2. From this, what I am trying to calculate? T0. So from this, if I get this T0 is equal to T1 plus T2 by 2. This is your initial tension, which there is no centrifugal tension if I am not going to consider a centrifugal tension. Suppose if I am going to consider a centrifugal tension, then this will be T1 plus T2 plus 2C by 2. So in a problems it will be mentioned considering a centrifugal tension, then you need to consider this. In some problems centrifugal tension will not be mentioned, so in that case you should not go with that, you should go with this initial tension T1 plus T2, where Tc, which is already know, mv square. Okay, so this is about your calculation of initial tension. Now let's move on for the another one, velocity ratio. If you want to calculate your velocity ratio, which is already I told you the velocity ratio, how do you calculate? If you have your driving member over here, the driving one and your driven one, if I take this as N1 and if I take this as N2, this ratio of N2 by N1 is nothing but we say it as a velocity ratio or a speed ratio. So that is nothing but the reciprocal of your diameters, that is D1 by D2, which is the train value. Okay, so if I consider the thickness, then I need to consider the thickness over here. So that is D1 plus T by D2 plus T. So here what is V? That is how do you calculate your V? V1 is nothing but pi dN by 60 and V2 is nothing but pi D2 N2 by 60. If I know V1 and V2, then I can finally calculate the equating the V1 and V2, that I get the final one as N2 by N1 is equal to D1 by D2. This is my velocity ratio calculations. If your both the diameter of your pulley and driven member, the follower is on the driving member is given, as well as one speed, the input speed is given. If I want to calculate the output speed, then I can calculate from this relation. Okay, so that is about your calculation of velocity ratio. Okay, so hope I'm clear till here. So that's it, we'll stop it over here for the derivation parts which is related to your calculation of all the derivation parts which is related to your syllabus, which is the most important part of all this derivation is calculation of length of the open belt and length of the cross belt. Okay, still if you have any doubts, go through this video once or twice, and if you can ask me the question later, you can post me if there is any doubt in this. Okay, hope I'm clear till here. With this we are done with the derivation part. Next class we will go through the problems, and after the problems I will start new unit, that is unit number 5. With this I will complete unit number 4. Thank you.